The barricades are up. You can't go too close to it. This is Black Lives Matter Plaza, as they call it. Yeah, can't get too close, but we'll be doing a tour, walking around here for a bit. Again, we've been seeing troops walking out of the hotel for quite a while now, loading up onto 3 big buses they have here. Not sure where they're heading to, but these checkpoints like this, blocking cars, foot traffic still allowed through. I'll be showing you all what the city looks like tonight. We have with us as well Michael Yon, war correspondent. You might have seen a recent video. Hey, Michael, so how's it been around here so far?
Oh, very interesting. I've been here quite a while, coming and going from, this is Black Lives Matter Plaza, as you know. And of course, the White House is right here, as you've already pointed out. There's been a lot of fighting here historically since 2020, including attacks right at the hotel right here, Capitol Hilton Hotel.
You talk about the Antifa, BLM, and Proud Boys guys fighting, is that right?
Yeah, especially even before Proud Boys came, there was Antifa and BLM attacking people constantly. And then only later did Proud Boys come. But in the beginning, it was just BLM and Antifa.
Yeah, so I understand we have like Lady Gaga staying up here. We have military soldiers all around. Quite the interesting scene we were watching.
It's the entire circus at the Biden junta, you might call it. Lady Gaga's here. Troops, of course, Secret Service filled this hotel over here. And some other stars and whatnot. So, and probably a lot of riffraff.
I could see that. The hotels are still open, though, right? All of them?
Yeah.
Or not all of them, some of them. Huh?
I remember the Harrington closed. They announced they were closing because they didn't want the Proud Boys staying there. I don't know if they're open now. But as you can see, the huge amounts of soldiers walking by, or they're getting on these buses over here, 3 buses. And so they're staying. I was told today that they're staying there's about 26,000, and they're staying 1 troop per room, so that's about 26,000 rooms. That are spread out not just in Washington, D.C., but also in Virginia and other places. So they've really filled up the hotels.
You've been talking to them. What have you been hearing?
Well, morale seems to be mixed. I mean, they realize that they're in the middle of history, and a lot of them don't want to be in this history. They realize that this is quite serious, and it's clear that a lot of the troops don't like what they're doing.
Very interesting. Now, in terms of what they're going to be doing, have you heard anything about these background checks they're doing on them? Have any of them commented on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just did another radio interview on this particular topic for Hong Kong, with CCP demanding, Chinese Communist Party demanding loyalty, signatures on, declarations of loyalty to CCP for Hong Kongers. Well, now, we're heading that direction here in the United States for military troops here that are close to the White House. It's just wrong in every single way, top to bottom.
Now, we see the troops do have rifles. They don't have their magazines in their rifles. You mentioned, we were talking a bit, you said actually you saw something similar in Iraq, Afghanistan. Is that right?
Well, when the presidents would come, whether it was Bush or Obama, there was an uproar both times. So let's be contextually accurate here. That it's happening with Biden, despite the, I don't like what's happening here. It has happened in the past, so it's not just specific to Biden. It happened with Bush. It happened with Obama as well.
Yeah, of course, in war zones, though, not in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, exactly. That was Iraq and Afghanistan. So the Secret Service did not want troops that were unvetted to have armed rifles.
Now, have we heard anything about the type of vetting they're doing? From what I understand, most National Guard's troops here would have security clearances as just part of the way they do things. There were some concerns around how do you check a person's political ideology. One of the only analysis I've heard on this is probably going on their social media pages and trying to vet them that way. Have you heard anything about this?
I don't know their mechanism for doing it. I know it seems to be imperfect at times. For instance, let's look at one of the attackers inside of the Capitol on the 6th. The man who bashed the hole with a helmet through one of the windows where Ashley Babbitt was shot. As of this morning, that guy's still not been identified when there's clear facial shots of him. The FBI is still asking for his identity when there's many clear shots of his face. So that's quite amazing. But they definitely do check social media and also people tell on each other and that sort of thing.
Now, we also have with us Masako Ganaha, Japanese journalist. We recently featured her in an interview. Masako, gonna come on? And so we're gonna be, just showing here. Yeah, we're going to be going around Washington again, me, Masako, and Michael Yon as well, giving a tour of what it looks like on the ground here, showing y'all what's happening here. Again, these are the 3 buses loading up troops onto them. We don't know where they're heading to. As Michael mentioned, they're staying in different hotels, about 26,000 troops currently, and it's 1 troop, 1 room, and so a lot of hotel rooms, 26,000. Masako, yeah, good to see you here.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. So you've been here in Washington now for quite a while as well. What is your perception of this? You're, of course, from Japan.
Yes, but I wanted to understand what is going on, but nobody has a clue how to understand this situation. So I'm just here to interview many people and how they feel. And I can see, surprisingly, I saw one man wearing Trump hat.
You saw one man wearing a Trump hat.
Yes, and I tried to interview him, and at first he was kind of afraid of press because he knows what media is, except Epoch Times. So I said, I'm not here to mislead your opinion or anything like that, and he started to talk. And he said that he still believes that election, there was a fraud. That's what he told me.
Now, have you seen many Trump supporters around, or is it mostly Biden supporters? What are you seeing on the ground here?
Mostly Biden supporters, yes. And because I saw many Trump supporters left on the next day of the Capitol storming.
Yeah, right. You've been here since then. That's right. Even before, yeah.
Yeah. So I think many people are afraid to speak up or even to say what they feel. So it's kind of hard to find Trump supporter in DC. So when I saw this man wearing Trump hat, that's a good time to interview one of them.
Yeah. So we're going to walk a bit closer to the White House and go show you all what it looks like on the ground here. Yeah. Good. Guess we can stay on the sidewalk here. So as you can see, well, I guess we can't show you just yet, but they have the fence moved up. Normally the fence is a lot closer to the White House. They moved it up all the way to this street right here. Again, you have black cars and so on all along the street. These look like mostly unmarked police vehicles. We did see some marshals as well. Mostly we're seeing troops. These are the hotel vans and such, of course. Allegedly as well, we have Lady Gaga staying up here and the whole entourage for Biden. Yeah, again, a lot of cars here. The streets all around the city, mostly locked down. We've seen military checkpoints at all the streets. Foot traffic is still allowed through, of course, not beyond the new fence they put up. We'll keep walking, folks. Real quick, so Masako, why don't you walk up with me? And so tell us again what you've been hearing on the ground. Now, you said you've only talked to a couple Trump supporters. You've only seen a couple, or how has that been?
I've seen only 2 Trump supporters.
Only 2 Trump supporters, and how long?
Maybe like 20 minutes ago, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the reason why I say only 2 is because nobody wears Trump stuff. Or maybe they cannot wear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the environment right now? Is there people afraid? Are they nervous? Are they uncomfortable? Are they happy? Are they excited? What is it?
I think they are kind of afraid. Yeah, because even in social media, they cannot speak.
I see.
So I can easily imagine that they are afraid to wear Trump stuff on the street.
So do you feel the fear is more among Trump supporters than it is among Biden supporters? How is it?
Well, I feel that more Trump supporters. Yeah, Trump supporters feel more, I think.
Yeah. So now we have the checkpoint up here, and again the fence, the barricade. See how close we can get to everything. Yeah, we see the floodlights they have. We see the gates they have. They don't have barbed wire up. We can see what appears to be the entrance right here. We do see people beyond. I'm not sure if we can get past the fence though. So let's see. Yeah, got helicopters flying by. Looks like the Starbucks is still open. It's interesting. Let me get a bit closer. Now, let's see what we can see up here. I do see what looks like some media up there, some press. Again, we have the White House just beyond this fence here, right here. This is a new fence. This was not up previously. Going further down again, you can see this is Black Lives Matter Plaza right here. Again, the White House down there, some of the main hotels around this area. We do see, looks like the hotels are open. People must be staying here. I'm not sure where the entrance is or how to get through this gate, or if it's clearance personnel only of some kind. Yeah, we do see people up there holding what looks like some anti-Trump rally of some kind as well. They're waving their flags and so on. Let's get Michael up here. Michael, do you know what's happening up here?
Oh, this is, as you know, Black Lives Matter Plaza, and right here is Washington Post, part of the problem. And so this has been the scene of a lot of the action. Like this restaurant right here, you may have seen the fireworks attack that happened live a couple of months ago. Attacked patrons right here with large fireworks, injured some, and chased them right to this hotel right over here, very violently. I was here actually. And so, yeah, this is the scene of a lot of violence right here. And even despite all the barriers and whatnot and all the law enforcement and National Guard, I wouldn't expect it to be peaceful here.
I see they're letting people in over here. Have you asked about getting entry? Have you heard anything about how to get entry?
No, I haven't been in a couple of days. It was open before, so I'd go down here quite frequently, actually.
Oh, really? Let's go see if we can get in, actually. Yeah. We'll ask the guard here if we can get in.
You'll notice a lot of these caged areas look like they're just as much designed to keep people in as out. You know, I wonder, actually, some others have noticed the same thing. And it was amazing how quickly they put up so much wall. I guess walls apparently do work.
Yeah. Well, they're not. Yeah, the narrative's kind of fallen apart on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, it has. It really has. Let's see if we need a special pass or something to get in.
Excuse me, sir. Is there any way we can get entry, or is there?
Yeah, if you go down to 15th, you can enter from there.
To 15th. Thank you. Thank you. All right, see if we can get in, folks. We'll keep walking around. Do you know how big the barrier is? How big of an area is locked off?
I don't, but I know that it's very difficult to get anywhere because these fences are just all over, and many checkpoints. I was told today, getting some traffic from people, they call it the green zone, and so a la Baghdad, people that are having a hard time getting out actually today. So it's quite a. I mean, it's martial law, effectively. They might not call it martial law, but it's clearly martial law.
Well, they did deputize, I think, 2,000 soldiers. And so they're not calling it martial law, but they've deputized, I think, 2,000 soldiers, which would be making the police able to carry out arrests of different types and so on.
This is Archibald's, by the way. Archibald's is the strip joint where Hunter Biden is accused of doing crack and having picked up a woman that he impregnated. This is the famous Archibald's.
Oh yeah, it looks like they have BLM signs on it too. A lot of places locked down again. Yeah.
So, it's becoming historical with Archibald's and BLM Plaza and the White House, and here's Washington Post, part of the problem.
Yeah.
You can't make up this stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, they're using terms that look very similar to what they had actually in Baghdad, as you mentioned. Green zones and so on, right? They're using the same kind of designations.
Right, and just yesterday there was a fellow walking right here, because I talked with him, wearing his full Antifa regalia, dressed in black, had his helmet and whatnot. Right here, I talked with him right here actually as he went through this gate. So I mean, he was emboldened enough to walk out here alone with all of his Antifa gear on.
This looks like maybe the checkpoint they're going to be using, I assume, for some of the screening for tomorrow's events.
Yeah.
For the inauguration. Looks like they have everything just starting to get set up here. We'll have to see. Now they said we could probably get in around this area. We'll see if they let us in. Worth a shot, right?
Yeah, worth a try.
Now we have had journalists talking to some of the people who live here. Even a lot of Biden supporters. They do seem to be pretty unhappy with the situation right now. It's unclear. Look at this. Wonder if we can get in.
Yeah, they're destroying business here.
Well, doors open. I assume we can walk in.
It's the Motel 6.
All right.
Motel California.
And we're in, yeah. All right, folks. So we're past the main fencing area.
Here we go.
By entering the secured area, you are consenting to a search of your persons and your belongings. Prohibited items include aerosols, ammunition, animals other than service animals, backpacks and bags exceeding size restrictions, balloons, bicycles, coolers, drones, other unmanned systems, normal stuff, explosives, so on. Toy guns are not allowed. Support for signs and placards, so I assume no political signs are allowed in this area. Although we did see people in Black Lives Matter Plaza with flags and banners and so on, so we assume that maybe some of that's being allowed.
Black Lives Matter can do anything they want. They got a giant sign right around the corner over here.
Oh, interesting. So they're banning some support signs and placards. Some protest is prohibited. Some is still allowed.
Antifa and Black Lives Matter can do whatever they want. This is a very obviously, openly pro-Antifa and pro-Black Lives Matter environment. They make no bones about it, the local law enforcement.
Yeah, and they have selfie sticks are also banned, and packages are also banned. All right, folks, let's keep walking past. They said we have to wear face masks, but I think we can probably get through because we're pressed, but we'll see if they say anything. All right, you still have the homeless encampments, it looks like, in the park here. Yeah, life goes on. Remember, this is not just a political zone. People live in this area as well, and so this is some people's apartments. This is some people's homes right here. This is people's businesses here. Looks like many places are shut down right now. It's again, the Mayor Bowser was saying this is the new normal to some extent for Washington. Unclear to what degree the new normal will be, but she did say this will be a new normal for Washington. And is also talking as well not just about the main city area in Washington, D.C., but also some of the surrounding areas, some of the security concerns they're having for there as well. Because again, they're saying political figures might live in those areas, and they seem to be concerned about their safety during this time. Now, keep walking around and show you folks what it looks like. Now, we're not seeing a lot of troops on the street. We did see them at the checkpoints, and I was actually expecting to see a lot more soldiers just patrolling on corners and stuff. It seems to be actually much less security than I anticipated in terms of visible troop presence. What are your thoughts?
Insofar as real security, this is completely unsecure. This is too easy for bad people to do bad things, and everybody can see that. So this is just a show. This is on the scale of 1 to 10 on security, with 1 being most secure. I would give this about a 7. I mean, it's nothing.
And of course, Michael Yon's been a war correspondent. He's gone to many different gone to many different war zones, and is well acquainted with issues like this. Now we're going to keep walking down. Show you all folks what it looks like down here. Yeah, streets relatively empty. Honestly, not significantly different than last time we were here. Again, we still have the CCP virus lockdowns, the COVID-19 lockdowns. And so in terms of people present on the streets, it's actually not that much different than before. But again, this is a day before a presidential inauguration. And so you would expect there to be a lot more, say, hustle and bustle around the city. We are seeing what look like just residents around here, but not clear quite. Now, folks, we'll keep showing you all what it's like on the ground here. Yeah, so good. We'll get Masako on again. So, Masako, we're walking around to the other side of the White House. Why don't you tell us what it's like in this area? Have you been to this area yet?
Yes, actually 2 days ago I was walking here and I was trying to go to Pennsylvania Avenue, and all the roads are blocked. So I have to go all the way there, or maybe go there, and they have security checkpoints where they will look your bags and everything, and then you can go in.
Oh, they let you in the main area?
Yes.
Oh, so you can still get pretty good access then?
Yes. That was 2 days ago though. So.
Things might have changed by then, in other words. We'll see if we can get access further in. It's interesting then, they have like a ringed checkpoint system, a few different layers of checkpoints. Further back, as you saw, they had the roads blocked, military vehicles, and National Guard troops standing guard there. About 3 National Guards troops, it looked like, per street. Further in, as you saw, we just passed through the second layer, which is the fencing against people walking on foot again. And again, a third layer now with possibly some higher security checks, and we'll have to see if they let us in further from there. Now, Masako, of course, you're from Japan. What's your impression of the situation here in the United States, and what have you been hearing from people in Japan about their views on what's happening in America?
Actually, there are many Japanese people who still support President Trump, so they had huge rally.
Did they?
On 17th. Yeah, I was surprised to see the rally too. And I've been hearing that many people who have visited as a tourist here before and saying that DC was really nice to travel. But here I've only experiencing this situation.
Oh.
So I cannot imagine.
That's right. You've been here reporting, and most of the time has been during a pretty difficult time for this country, I think, to say the least, right?
Yeah. So I was watching many videos of,
Now this is the next layer of fencing. There's no guards here, so I assume we can walk in. Yeah, but we'll see if they say anything. Yeah, it looks like we're allowed in. They do have the street blocked off to our left here. They do have vehicles up. They have tents up. It's not quite clear what... It's blocked up here? Thank you. Okay, maybe it's just blocked. Maybe this is just for the buildings here then, building access. I guess we can turn. Well, let's walk to the end. We'll see what's up here. Turn around if we have to. Now, Masako, you were telling us about how people in Japan view what's happening, and you've of course been here mostly during the very rough time for the United States. People are saying that it's not the America they used to know. How are they perceiving it in that regard?
Oh, well, I hope that United States will overcome this situation, and hopefully I would be able to visit here as a tourist and have fun, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I think that's the way a lot of Americans feel right now as well. A lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen with this country. I think that's the general feeling right now, is uncertainty. And also being in a situation that people really, they've never experienced anything like this before. We've never seen an inauguration like this. We've never seen this type of security in Washington, at least not in my lifetime. We've never seen incidents like this take place, where the country has been so divided, really, to this extent. And again, where politicians seem so afraid of the American people as well. Now, you're right, we can't walk past here. We'll see if we can get around through the main checkpoint area. So we'll keep walking up. Now, I'm curious, Masako. Now, are people concerned about your safety? What's the perception in Japan of the safety levels in America right now?
Well, many people, even my family, called me and said that I have to go back, or at least go to different state. But I told them I have to stay here to see what is happening. And since Japanese media don't tell us the truth, only the way they wanted people to think. So I decided to stay here.
Yeah, of course, Masako's an independent journalist as well, and so is able to present news that a lot of the mainstream media, even in Japan, will not show. I understand. Now, that's an interesting note for, I think, a lot of Americans as well, because, of course, a lot of Americans here are very concerned about the press freedom and the willingness of the press to report news as it is without some kind of political twist to it. This is not just an American issue, you're saying, though. You said same situation in Japan, right?
Yes, I think it's not only in the United States or Japan, it's all over the world. Yes. Yeah.
Now let's see if we can get access here, or what the requirements are. Hey, excuse me, sir. Is there any access allowed past this point? Oh, thank you. I'll talk to them? No? All right. Yeah, thank you. Is there any other points as well, or anything?
Sorry?
Are there any other checkpoints, any other entrances, or is it just only authorized people past here?
Only authorized.
I see. Thank you. All right, well, this is as far as we can get, folks. Why don't we walk over towards in front of the White House? I saw there was quite a bit of activity over there. We'll go see what it looks like. Yeah, well, this is Washington right here. You can see right past here, this is, again, one of the main streets leading right into the White House lawn. Normally, right up here would be, well, I don't think we can get past here. Normally right up here would be the main wall during any normal time, but even this looks like we can't get past it. Again, up here is where they had, after the Black Lives Matter protests, a lot of the posters put up along the first wall that was erected. Now we have many different walls erected in Washington. Folks, we'll keep walking around, show you what it looks like on the ground here. Again, we're actually not seeing that many troops on corners and so on. They are present at the main checkpoint areas. We have seen them moving around. There's allegedly about 26,000 troops in Washington right now. Again, they kept changing the numbers. Around Wednesday last week, number was 15,000. By Friday, it was, I think, 20,000. Or sorry, Thursday it was 20,000. And by Friday, it was 25,000. Now they're saying 25,000 might be the minimum. I've heard now 26,000. Biden, of course, was concerned about the security of the officers on the ground. First of all, the Secret Service officers, then was concerned about as well the military troops who were on the ground and their possible political viewpoints. And so allegedly as well, we had some reports on it, they are screening not only Secret Service, but also military troops who are present here for their political views. As Michael Yon noted as well, this is something we normally don't see in the United States. Of course, they do screen people based on security matters. For example, part of the process, you will have them screen for, say, security clearances. Normally, that is the process. But the screening for political viewpoints is something a bit new. I was talking to some different contacts about how this can be done. Very likely the only way you could do that is by checking, for example, social media posts and so on. Now let's go walk over here in front of the White House. We'll see what the situation looks like over here. Again, folks, this is Washington, D.C. right now, one day before the inauguration. Really just a lot of normal foot traffic. Like I was saying, you do have a lot of military troops present. It seemed like a lot of them were moving to hotels. We saw a lot of them earlier, if you were tuned in, walking to their buses, getting on the buses. Unclear where they're going to. As Michael here mentioned, Michael Yon here again, war correspondent. As Michael mentioned, a lot of them, apparently it's one troop, one room, one soldier, one room. And so that's about 25,000, 26,000 rooms. Washington, D.C. is deeply occupied right now by the National Guard. Yeah, and so...
It is. And here's something from Reuters. Dozen U.S. National Guard troops removed from inaugural duty after vetting. I wonder if they've thought about Air Force Chief of Staff C.Q. Brown, four-star general, who is openly and proudly supporting BLM during the height of their violence. Air Force Chief of Staff, has he been vetted?
Yeah, well, there does seem to be a political bias when it comes to some of this vetting, and that is the concern of a lot of people, that this is political vetting based on free speech, free expression. Of course, there's a difference with troops. They're not allowed to criticize, for example, a sitting president, which is one of the requirements for them. But a lot of people are concerned about discrimination based on political viewpoints. And the United States, of course, being a constitutional republic where people are encouraged to vote for the president and their representatives, this is really something new for a lot of Americans. Now, Michael, have you talked to troops about, maybe off record, how they feel about this situation? Have any of them told you anything about it? And you've been talking to some troops on the ground?
You can see where a vehicle was burned here, by the way.
Yeah. Here actually, yeah, there's the charred cement where when a vehicle was burned. Michael, you were, of course, here during a lot of the Black Lives Matter riots. What happened here? Was this part of the riots?
I don't know. I wasn't here for that, but I've seen a lot of these marks in different places around the world, so I know what it is. But I was over in Portland, Atlanta, Philadelphia, D.C. quite a few times now. And, of course, I got kicked out of Hong Kong last year for my anti-CCP views. But, yeah, I mean, you can see that this is not going away. This is clearly growing. My estimation is if it continues on this path, we will go into actual, real, open civil war. That's what it's pointing towards right now. It's incredibly unfortunate.
It's a scary thought.
It is.
Now, folks, just keep walking around to show you what the situation is on the ground. Yeah. So up here again is right in front of the White House. And again, you just have a lot of people normally riding their bikes around. Doesn't look too out of the norm for the most part. Michael, you did mention you saw one member of Antifa. I know that you've reported a lot on Antifa. Have you heard anything about their stance on Biden? I did see they were planning protests against Biden. Are they really switching against him now?
That was highly predictable. They were never on his side. You know, that. I mean, you can see this coming 10 miles away. They will, and Biden will turn right on them as well. That they will fight, because remember, Antifa is very anti-America to begin with. So no matter who's in charge, they're going to oppose whoever. They're going to oppose stability in the United States. That's Antifa. They clearly want to see the United States just fall apart.
Yeah, look at this. We have a smashed up ATM machine over here. Do you know when this one happened? Right here?
That was already smashed at least a couple of months ago, because a couple of months ago it already looked like that.
Yeah.
This AFL-CIO, by the way, of all places.
Yeah. Well, and this is bizarre too. This is right in front of the White House. Smashed up ATM machine, never repaired. Now, looking around here, it looks relatively normal for the most part. Well, you do have police and vans up here. Looks like fully loaded police van. A lot of kids on bikes and so on. People posing for photos. We haven't seen any apparent Trump supporters yet. Up here we have BLM protest, which is a bit strange because the second layer, the first layer of security clearance banned people from bringing in, for example, posters and flyers and things like that. You're not allowed to bring those in. It seems that they are letting BLM hold a protest here still. It's walking up here. Yeah, some kind of BLM protest happening up here. This is BLM Plaza, and right here you have the White House, right beyond it. Yeah, so these guys have been out here for a while now, though, right? We've seen them here last time. Is this the same group as before, or what's the deal with these guys?
They alternate off, but there's always somebody out here, almost 24/7 for all year. I mean, for a lot of 2020 until now. So this is the Hay Adams Hotel here, the famous Hay Adams, which is, their business is tanked, but that's one of the best views in the whole city of the White House, by the way. It's a great place for lunch if you want to see the White House.
Yeah, it's walking a bit closer, see what's it like up here. We'll walk past these barricades again. These look like the barricades that stop vehicles mostly, again, not stopping foot traffic. We can get a bit closer, again, to the next level of the fencing around the White House. Unclear. Yeah, unclear exactly what's going to happen up here, but checking it out. So it looks like mostly protests taking place up here. Not clear the details, but protests taking place. Protester here as well. Yeah. But again, we'll see what happens, folks. Looks like just a big protest up here. These guys have been at it for a while. Yeah. Black Lives Matter Plaza again. Yeah, we see Black Lives Matter, President Biden signs, people protesting. You don't have many police. We only see a couple police beyond the main fence up here. Yeah. Yeah, not a whole lot going on actually. Yeah. And again, folks, right up here we have the White House. Normal protests have been happening here for a while. They do have, again, the new fence coming around, though. This whole fence is new. All right, we'll keep walking around. We'll show you around the whole perimeter, folks. Show you what it looks like here in Washington, D.C. on the ground. Yeah, it's starting to get dark out here. Michael Yon, you did say that he saw some Antifa-like folks. This is BLM folks right here.
Oh yeah, they're circling us right now. They're circling us right now. They've already been talking about Epoch Times.
Yeah, I heard them, yeah.
I mean, this guy right here.
Yeah.
This guy right here. This guy's Antifa right here. He's straight up Antifa.
Who cares? Yeah, they're not going to do anything. Yeah. But yeah, normal protests up here. Really, the ones that have been going on for a while now. Looks like, again, you do have police presence. You do have military presence. Not a whole lot of activity on the ground. You do have a couple vans here. One here and one over here. So not a whole lot going on. Oh, someone just crashed on their bike. Yeah, we'll keep walking around, show you folks what it's like on the ground. Yeah. So what is your general feel of the guys back here? These are normal protesters, again, just been going on for a while?
No, I mean there's clear some Antifa and BLM right there. I mean you can see them hassling you right here on the camera. So you know, when it gets dark, that's when the ghouls really come out.
Yeah.
As you can see, I mean they'll do it. It doesn't matter if the police are right here. They'll attack the police, and they do it regularly. I mean, heck, a policeman was just killed at the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
Inside the Capitol. So there's nothing.
Did we get any updates on what actually happened to the officer who was killed in the Capitol? We've heard different rumors on that. And the initial report said someone beat him with a fire extinguisher. Later report said that he showed up at the back at his headquarters and died on the scene there. Other reports said he had a heart attack. Do we know anything on that yet?
I was told by a federal officer he was killed with a fire extinguisher, but did he die later? And I don't know, but clearly resulted from the attack.
All right, one sec, folks. We're just going to change the battery out here. Again, here reporting from the ground in Washington, D.C. Not a whole lot going on right now. It's pretty more quiet than I expected, to be honest. One sec, just switch out our batteries here.
계속 아, 메스.
In Washington, D.C., doing some on-the-ground reporting. We're inside past the first checkpoint where you do have the National Guard troops guarding the roads. Secondary checkpoint where you have to walk through a fence. Third checkpoint we cannot get through. That is the one closest to the White House. Back here we have Black Lives Matter Plaza. We showed you some of the folks there and they were circling us around but didn't seem interested in following us. And we're walking down now one of the main roads. We have here with us Michael Yon, war correspondent who's been here on the ground reporting since before Januar. How long have you been here for now, actually?
I got back in September.
So you've been here for the whole time then, reporting.
Off and on here, Portland, Atlanta, up in Philadelphia, other places, right, checking out BLM, checking out Antifa, Proud Boys, MAGA support, just the whole, who's who in the zoo, basically. Mm-hmm. This right here, I've seen, for instance, Antifa, you see there's a slight hill here. It's very slight, but I've seen, Antifa here coming 20 or 30 skateboards, super fast. They attack often on skateboards. I mean, they come in like flying monkeys, super fast and very quietly. They can come from a couple blocks up and suddenly be on top of you. And they do that. That's one of the ways to spot Antifa. They often have skateboards. For instance, at the Capitol attack, you saw some in there with skateboards attached to their backs. I'm not saying that that's always Antifa, but it's a clear sign. And it's one of the things that I and others watch for.
Now, they of course have these military checkpoints around the city and around this area right here. We can look up here, for example, see some of them lit up. We would assume that they have, well, of course they had standards coming into this area, no backpacks of certain sizes, no bags of certain sizes, bans on billboards of different kinds, not allowed to hold, for example, some political boards. They did seem to be allowing BLM and pro-Biden ones, though, so that is apparently being allowed. Not quite clear. And again, we would assume that it would be harder for groups like Antifa to come through here with weapons and so on because they're the checkpoints. What's your thoughts around that?
It's too easy to have weapons in here because there's apartments and hotel rooms around here they could have rented long before. And so some people stay in these hotels long term. This is the famous Army-Navy Club, by the way, where a lot of general officers and whatnot stay. Well, I've stayed there before. It's a very interesting old history here. But I've seen, a couple months ago at nighttime, hundreds, say a couple hundred, of Antifa and BLM out here, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, still fighting, rolling around, police chasing them around.
Looks like here we have a lot of police vehicles, unmarked vehicles. It looked like mostly police. So far, we've seen, for example, marshals. We've seen, of course, the soldiers with the National Guard. We've seen some normal police, and we've seen also some Secret Service as well. Now, folks, again, walking around Washington, D.C., giving you some eyes on the ground here in terms of how the situation looks. Streets are relatively empty now. It's getting a bit dark out now. Earlier, we did see people walking around more casually. It looks like there's fewer people in this area other than Black Lives Matter Plaza, where you have ongoing protests, now in support of Biden, it appears. Now up here, folks, will be the White House, up here and to the left. We tried getting through the checkpoint earlier. They did not let us through. We'll have to see how close we can get. Now this is the new fencing they've put up. One of the new fencing layers they put up for, again, the inauguration, where, again, tomorrow being the 20th, you're going to be having the presidential inauguration. Biden's going to be having his virtual event here. Trump is going to be leaving from, I believe, Virginia tomorrow, and then flying down to Florida for his event. Unclear what's going to happen. A lot of tension, a lot of concerns, a lot of uncertainty. Again, we'll have to see what happens. And of course, we'll be here reporting. We also have some folks going to be in Florida reporting, and we have other reporters here on site in Washington, D.C. to help with reporting as well, depending on what happens. And we'll be showing you again different feeds tomorrow, so tune in. of what's happening in different areas as this goes forward. Again, a lot of uncertainty right now. Now, they're not allowing most vehicles past the first checkpoint. Again, we've seen now they have the first checkpoint being the one blocking vehicles. Foot traffic is allowed past that. Second checkpoint is a fencing checkpoint. You have to go through a special entrance and you can walk on foot. Third checkpoint is the one we're approaching right now. We see some soldiers up here, for example. And this one they will not let us through. We did try a couple times to get through. Yeah, no entry allowed. We'll take you up here, folks, show you what it looks like. Looks like we have some federal marshals and some National Guard soldiers up here. A lot of this is used to be homes, maybe still be homes, hotel rooms, offices, everything's closed down. Up here we have Secret Service and again some National Guard soldiers up here. Now this is one of the entryways right by the White House. If we just head down there, there's the White House. And yes, everything's closed down. Cannot get entry here. So this is Washington, D.C. again, January 19th, one day before the inauguration. Just getting dark out. We again walked by Black Lives Matter Plaza where they have an ongoing protest. Not a large scale one, maybe 30 people roughly. Saw some folks kind of lightly harassing us, nothing too significant. And again, military presence, police presence, actually not a lot on the streets, which is interesting, other than the main checkpoints. We did see again some troops getting loaded onto buses, unclear where they're heading to. Very likely we could assume that most of them are either resting right now, maybe getting dinner, unclear, or maybe again waiting in their hotel rooms because again every troop has their own hotel room. Every soldier has their own hotel room. Now we can't get further past this area. We'll keep walking down, show you what it looks like on the ground here. Yeah, have some soldiers up here. Secret Service. Looks like the coffee shops are still open. Looks like restaurants seem to be closed, but we have seen a couple coffee shops open. Looks like some of the buildings are still open. Hotels, some of them are still open as well. Unclear again what Washington is going to look like after all of this. Mayor Bowser is saying that this is going to be the new norm for Washington. Unclear to what degree she meant by that, whether it's the full-scale security we see now, something expanded even, or something more muted where people can have somewhat more normal lives, but we'll have to see. A lot of uncertainties in the country right now, again. Yeah, streets are pretty quiet right now. Nobody out on this side. And this is right by the White House again, folks. This is just, about 2 blocks now from the White House, not far at all. Normally you'd have a lot of foot traffic around this area. Normally there'd be a lot going on. It's very, very quiet right now, very muted right now. Up here you can see we have a couple trash trucks. This is something we started seeing in New York and in Washington during large events, where they put up these vehicles to make sure people don't try to bring vehicles through to, for example, run down pedestrians and such, like we saw in France happen. Again, just part of the security measures they have in place. Again, we see this, for example, during parades in New York. Kind of normal procedure for large gatherings like what we're going to have tomorrow, although maybe not tomorrow given that they're having more of a virtual event. Yeah, very quiet out tonight, folks. Not a lot of noise. It feels very, honestly, kind of depressed here right now. Washington feels very quiet, very muted, really not a lot going on. Again, with the exception of the BLM protest we saw, but an ongoing one, of course. Now we'll go up here, see how it looks up here. Again, we have trash trucks here. Further up again, several layers of fencing. I'm seeing 2 more layers of fencing ahead of us. See if we can get around these barriers. Yeah. Again here, this is Washington, D.C., one day before the presidential inauguration. All right, folks, we'll just show you a bit more. It looks like this is DC right now. We'll go walk up and see what's happening up here. We do see some National Guard troops stationed up here on the corner. We'll have to see what's going on. But again, Washington, D.C., January 19th, one day before the presidential inauguration. Several layers of checkpoints set up. Again, you're not going to be able to join any of the main events unless you have a special invitation for tomorrow. They have, again, flags planted in the National Mall instead of people. And again, Biden's going to be having more of a virtual event. Trump has announced he's going to be having his own event tomorrow as well. And so you're going to have a main inauguration and Trump's goodbye event. A lot of questions about what will happen. Again, we'll have to see. And again, here in Washington, somewhere between 25,000 and 26,000 troops currently on the ground. We see some of them up here. Actually, in terms of the way it's been sounding versus the way it actually looks on the ground, it looks like they only have troops guarding the main roads. And we would assume others of them are playing roles with logistics, maybe monitoring for information and so on. Uncertain. Yeah. Up here again we have some troops. It does look like all of them, they do have combat rifles, but they don't have their magazines in the rifles. It's unclear. We did see magazines tucked into their bags, for example, but unclear with everything still. Up here, again, some troops. How you folks doing? Again, you have the security checkpoints up here, some troops here. Again, folks, this is Washington, D.C., January 19th, one day before the inaugurations. Actually pretty quiet out, not a whole lot of noise. The streets are pretty much empty. We're again inside the main area where you can't bring vehicles unless you're with security or with probably some of the people closer to the administration. Really very quiet out, streets very empty out. Yeah, this is new Washington, the new Washington, D.C. All right, folks, that said, I think we'll leave it here. I think we showed you the general situation on the ground. Very, very quiet night. Folks, that said, tune in tomorrow again. We're going to be broadcasting the inauguration events. We're going to be broadcasting the Trump farewell event, and also going to have some on-the-ground reporting around the country based on what's happening in different areas. Folks, that said, please tune in tomorrow. We'll see you then.
This hearing should not be controversial. It really shouldn't be. This is something I think we all should want to restore the confidence in our election system. A week ago, when I gave notice to this hearing, there were more standing issues and court cases than there are today. But even though courts have handed down decisions and the Electoral College has awarded Joe Biden 306 electoral votes, a large percentage of the American public does not believe the November election results are legitimate. This is not a sustainable state of affairs in our democratic republic. There are many reasons for this high level of skepticism. It starts with today's climate of hyperpartisanship, which was only exacerbated by the persistent efforts to delegitimize the results of the 2016 election. The corrupt investigation and media coverage of the Russian collusion hoax reduced faith in our institutions, and the ongoing suppression and censorship of conservative perspective by biased media and social media adds fuel to the flames. Senator Grassley's and my investigation and report on the conflicts of interest and foreign financial entanglements of the Biden family is just one example of how media suppression can and does affect the outcome of an election. It is both amazing and galling that all of a sudden, post-election, this has become a news story and a scandal worthy of investigation. With less than a month left in my chairmanship of this committee,